Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Manny and Shawn Experience podcast. This week, we asked, you told us, and we shall respond
to your question.
Yes, we have picked some at random. Obviously, in an hour, we can't get to all of them, but we will do another episode because there were so many questions in there.
Yeah.
So stick around. Stay tuned for all the wildness. Bam, 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 bam.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Manny.
And I am Shawn.
Thank you for joining us today on the Manny and Shawn Experience podcast. Maybe I wanted to be a radio show DJ or something. I like to do that voice. Breaking today.
You can still do it.
Breaking today
it's
at
still
5.
A job. They'll probably put you on the late shift.
There's just too many politics of that. You know, you got to go be a street reporter first. I don't want to be outside. I don't like bugs. It's hot. I don't like to get rained on.
I don't think you have to be a street reporter first to get on radio.
Oh, I thought you were saying TV. My bad. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I thought that's what you were talking about. Were you not talking about being on radio?
I don't know. I guess my aspirations went to TV real quick.
All right.
But welcome back. This is episode 85 of the Manny and Shawn Experience. We are celebrating our 2-year anniversary this month.
Yeah.
Which was the 14th of August. We hope all of you are doing well. Thank you for continuously listening, which is what keeps us going, besides us just wanting to have a 1-hour therapy session with this camera.
Is this what this is?
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. This week has been pretty good. I am feeling great. We have upcoming things that I'm excited about.
Tings.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. If you see my hat, which
you can now see on YouTube as well.
And we just answered one of our questions.
That's fine.
But anyways.
Spoiler alert.
Please enter the contest, MASXP23, on Instagram. And you could be entered for your chance to win, once again, an exclusive limited edition fitted cap and some social media stickers.
So go do it now. You have a great chance of winning if you enter.
Hit pause, unless you're driving. Hit pause. Go on over down to Instagram. I know everybody's on Instagram all the damn time. And just type in MASXP23. Hit follow and tag 2 people that enjoy a variety podcast filled of filled with, I wanted to curse, so that's the word that came to my mouth.
Full of crappy. What was the curse word?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
If you know at least 2 people that are interested in a variety podcast where we cover an assortment of topics from politics to your questions, your stories. Sometimes it gets deep here, LGBTQ plus friendly, then tag them. And if you want to piss off somebody who is the complete opposite of that, tag them as well. They'll at least give us 1 stream. But let's get into the mixtape to answer your questions, because that's why you're here today.
Roll the tape.
Roll the tape.
You're in the mix.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the mixtape. We're in the mix. Today, like Manny said, we're answering your question. Why do you do that face?
So weird.
You're weird. Never mind. So
we kind of matched today. Both wearing gray shirts.
Anyway, so we have a couple of questions from you guys that you have sent in. We have a backlog. We're going to get through as much as we can today. Let's start with the one that I spoiled. Will you keep this every other week schedule? I kind of like it. Also, bring back video to YouTube. Thanks. Well, my friend, whoever you are out there, the podcast guys have answered your query, and you will now be able to see us on YouTube once again. And also, I do think that we will probably keep this every other week schedule.
Yeah, it's hard to answer the every other week schedule because we're still looking to see how it trends. Also, we want to really make that decision when we return back from España.
Ooh.
They know about that trip. We've been talking about that trip forever.
I know. But yeah, it's something that so far that has been working out for us as far as like doing the podcast. Whether you guys like it this way is still up in the air. But let us know. You know, drop a DM or comment underneath one of the posts. Let us know if you like it.
Yeah, let us know if you enjoy every other week. I know I enjoy it personally. But you know, it lets everybody get caught up because sometimes I'm always behind on podcasts because they're always releasing every week. And I'm like,
sometimes twice a week. And I'm just like, that cannot be my life.
I'm like, I can't keep up. Stop.
But those people, some of those people have like, you know, people that do things for them behind the scenes. This is just me and you.
Yeah.
We on a budget. This is the budget. This is the team.
We on the budget. So yeah, thanks for that question. But yeah, the YouTube as of episode 84 is back on YouTube. Yeah, so we're excited to be back on YouTube, and actually it looked pretty good from the numbers. I'm like, why did we remove it from YouTube?
I mean, it was
an editorial thing.
It was something that we were trying out, right? Like YouTube can be very finicky. And it depends a lot on like watch hours and viewers and that type of thing. And we wanted to give Spotify a try since we were moving over to that as the primary platform. And they offered, you know, video. So we were like, let's just put video here and see how it does. So
yeah. But the video is still also on Spotify, so you can watch it either or both if you really enjoy it that much.
One day Apple will give you video as well. I don't know when. You'll have to ask Apple, but we'll put it there too.
Jumped on that, yeah. But yes, so schedule after Spain. We will announce it after that, which leads us to our next question. Y'all posting London on your IG, but haven't said anything on the pod. Thought Spain was your trip. What happened? Obviously, we kind of spoiled this. Well, we didn't spoil it. It was part of our podcast last week.
Yeah, it was part of our podcast last week. So we did talk about it on the pod.
Yeah. But these questions came in before that.
I know.
But yeah, so yeah, we're going to London. Briefly announced on the last, I don't know how detailed we got, but we're leaving the 20th of, I was going to say September. The 20th of August, we take a red eye. Are those considered red eyes?
I don't know.
Overnight?
I don't know.
I used to work in the airport. It's an overnight flight. We're trying out a new airline, as we said last podcast, which we hope to bring a video review on it.
Yeah, I do plan on doing a video for Norse. And we also probably will do a vlog for London.
And we'll probably bring some of it here.
Of course.
To the pod. Really excited about Norse. Norse. My aligners do not fucking let me say that. Norse.
Yes.
Is that good? Okay, good. We're excited about this airline, as we may have mentioned a little bit, but people are like, people need to start flying this airline before they go bankrupt.
I know. I mean, so Norse is a low-cost carrier. They fly overseas
seeking sponsorship. Just putting that out there.
From here, we are taking them out of Orlando. They go to Oslo, London, and
Berlin. Out of Miami.
Berlin is out of Miami.
So to correction, out of Orlando, North.
I was asking a question.
Only flies to London.
Oh, out of MCO.
Out of Miami, if it goes to London, Oslo, and Berlin.
Whatever. If you want to go to any of those places, we suggest that you try Norse because they are, like I said, low cost. You can get overseas for very cheap price.
You can also do connections from any of those places to other places in Europe.
They only have premium economy and economy. So you are able to make that ticket as cheap or as expensive as you want, depending on what you add on to it.
Yeah, you can fly. Like there was literally tickets to London round trip. If you took like a backpack, it was literally like under $500.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wild. So you customize your experience on board as much as you want.
Yes.
So we're excited to try them. This is our year of trying different airlines.
Yeah, because we're doing TAP in September for Spain.
TAP Portugal, which is a Portuguese airline. So we're flying them to Barcelona. And then we're flying Norse to London. So, and TAP is kind of the same, maybe not as low cost carrier-ish.
Yeah.
Because they did include their bags. Norse did not. But honestly, we're going to see how we do with our current packing. And then if we ever take them again, we may buy less bags. We're just overpackers and that happens. But anyways, that is the tale. We are going to London. Yes, we skipped Spain as our inaugural overseas flight for London. So we'll be there for 5 days and we're super excited.
Yes.
One of our podcast friends, shout outs, Ralph Anthony of the
Scream
Society. He just recently changed his podcast. He used to be Scream Queer Podcast.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I didn't fuck that up. But he's currently in London. I was like, oh, no way. So I'm just like living through his Instagram. Anyways. So I think we beat that one to death.
We beat you to death.
But we're still going to Spain. We're going to Spain at the end of September.
Yes.
And we're super excited about that.
Also tell you all about that.
Yes. We're also taking Virgin Voyages. If we haven't said that, we'll take a 7-day Mediterranean cruise. 2 beautiful stops in Cannes, Marseille, Palma de Mallorca, Ibiza. Anyways, and Spain. That trip's going to be a disaster, but in a good way.
All right. I guess I will just go to the one that's next that kind of correlates with that. Will you ever cruise Carnival again?
Oh, did my mom submit this?
That would be some stuff. So we had cruise Carnival for most of our cruising career. I like to call it a career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we started like what,
25th? No. 20 I don't know. 2000
it was
8?
I want to say something around there.
Anyway, a long time.
We're platinum.
We are platinum on Carnival. And if you don't know what that means, they just have different tier levels depending on how many times you have been on a cruise.
It means we've given them a lot of money.
We love Carnival, and it is a very fun time. I know there are people out there who love Royal for whatever reason, people who love Norwegian for whatever reason, and we haven't tried Royal. It's fine. It is what it is. I think we just prefer Carnival because it was always just much more of a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, Royal gave me I'm still low cost, but I want to act like I'm better than. So it's like Target.
I'm still low cost.
It's like going to Target.
I mean, Royal be expensive, no shade.
I know, but people like to. I don't know.
I get it.
I have nothing against Royal and the people that like Royal. They do have some amazing ships that I would love to try.
Yeah.
But when you tell me there's 6,000 people on board, it just makes me want to jump off the ship. So I'm not going to do that because I don't want to die.
So yeah, back to the question: will we ever cruise Carnival again? I don't think we will cruise it again if it's just me and you.
No, just Shawn and I probably won't happen. We do want to check out Norwegian cruise lines, just to check them out.
Yeah.
And then we may have other reasons for it. But
But to answer the question, though, I think we would cruise Carnival if it was, family, if it was friends that were planning a trip and we were invited to go, or if the family wanted to do a trip. Because most of the time we went on Carnival, it was with family towards the
end of our Carnival career.
Which they all love Carnival. So, like, I would have no issue whatsoever doing that.
And I mean, Carnival's not bad. It's just...
No. It's just not Virgin.
It's not Virgin, and it has turned into much more of a nickel and dime situation with Carnival. And I feel like that's probably most things in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
But like Virgin is like, I paid. Yeah. Unless you want to do excursions and drink excessively, those would probably be your only expenses on Virgin. Whereas with Carnival, it's like, if you want to have social, you got to pay for the internet. The drinks were probably double more than what they are on Virgin.
Yeah.
There's additional tipping and all that. So before you know it, you're spending more on board.
I think also the last couple of cruises, service just has not been what it was. And a lot changed after the pandemic, which we kind of gave them a break for. But then we came back a year later and it was still like service is not giving what it should be giving.
Yeah, the same. I just highlighted that question. I just fucked it up. Anyways, the level of service that was there prior to COVID was not present anymore.
Yeah.
And we did three cruises after COVID with Carnival. Actually, I think we did more than that.
No, it's fair.
No, it was March. Yeah. The one right after COVID was great. The ship wasn't full, so you didn't feel it. The first one we did back after COVID, we really felt the service lacked, and I think it was part of building these big ships like Mardi Gras, which is the one we went back to start after the pandemic. That holds like 6,000 people, and it didn't feel that they had enough crew to passenger ratio. Like, I feel like they were operating at the most minimalist level. And we're like, okay, we just got back from the pandemic, fully recovered in the cruise industry. Maybe next year it'll be better.
Right.
Then we went on the Celebration, and it was the same deal with service, maybe in points a little worse at times. And also you can feel like the crew is exhausted to the max, which I think resulted in some negative customer service experiences.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't want to say that just to be like all the service sucks, because it doesn't, because we did have amazing staff members that really made some of those trips memorable.
Oh, absolutely.
But just on a whole, you could tell there was a difference in service. You could tell there was just, it's not what it was.
Yeah, like
we were used to.
We ended up eating at the Italian restaurant on Celebration the last couple of nights just because that's where the greatest service we experienced in dining.
Yeah, the dining room was not. It was not. It was just so slow.
And if you're telling me like it's a traditional European...
No, that ain't it.
That wasn't even happening. It wasn't even happening. It was just like we got sat, drinks were ordered, drinks didn't appear.
Yeah.
It's like, can I at least have a drink? Then I'll feel like something's happening.
I mean, if we were on MSC in the middle of the ocean in Europe, then yeah, maybe I would give that a pass. But like, this is Carnival. Like,
it's not what Carnival is known for.
Right. It's not what they're known for. So
and
like,
we were missing shows and everything.
I think that was one of the major issues. Like, we didn't want to go to the dining room because if we wanted to see a show that evening, it's like you had to pick either dining room or the show. You can't have both. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you either have to go to the buffet and grab you something real quick and eat it.
Yeah.
and then go to a
It's never
show.
great. But yeah, so long-winded answer. We would go back to Carnival if it was a family trip, a friendship trip.
Friendship trip.
We would definitely consider going back on them.
Yeah.
But Virgin has definitely stolen our hearts. We do want to try Norwegian. And I never want to say I would rule out Royals, big class ships, maybe during like slow season. I don't know what slow season would be for them, but just their latest ship does look like fucking phenomenal. And at this point, when Sean and I go in the Caribbean, we're just like, okay, we're just here for the ship.
Yeah, because we've been to most ports. I mean, I'm sure there's a few out there we haven't seen, but like for the majority of itineraries, we've done it.
Yeah. So at that point, the ship kind of becomes what we want to be a part of in that vacation. So checking out some of those cool Royal spots would be awesome. But as of right now, Virgin is Virgin. All of you will be happy to know we have nothing planned yet in 2025, which is weird for us.
It's wild. But, I'm sure we will soon.
We will. All right, next question.
All right. Are you watching the Olympics? Well, the Olympics are over. But if you listened to last week's episode, then my issue was talking about the Olympics. But yes, we did watch the Olympics. We did not watch every game, but the Olympics was definitely on in this house.
It was. It's always hard when it's on a different time zone, which usually it is. Because it's like nothing is live when you can watch it. And then they do like those cuts. And it's like one moment you're in the pool, then you're in the volleyball, then it's basketball. And I'm just like, I can't, what the fuck happened? So like the game ended? What?
I mean, we watched a bunch of replays because that's mostly what they showed you as replays. Things that we watched, not in full, but we watched a lot were probably one, I think we saw the end of the women's basketball game for the US.
That was a really
versus
good
France.
game.
That shit was down to the wire. Like
It's
that girl,
1 point advantage. What?
yes,
Yeah.
she thought she made a 3,
She made it 2.
but she made a 2,
as time expired.
and she was so heartbroken. I could see it on her face. She was so heartbroken.
It's like we saw somewhere. Nobody will be sadder than a silver medalist winner. Because they were this close to it.
I get it, but like you still get a medal. I know.
Oh my God, I'd be happy as hell. I don't care. Being on this podium is enough for me.
It's a lot. We watched a lot of what's the running one? I couldn't think of the
Track
word.
and field.
Track and field.
We saw a lot of one day we watched a lot of diving.
Yeah, we did. We watched Katie Ledecky do her, I forget how many meters, but it's one where she had to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and she was lapping those girls.
I always saw Noah Lyles win his
gold.
Yeah.
Of course, we watched gymnastics is probably my fave.
I like gymnastics. I think track and field is my favorite game. Though, yeah, track and field would be my game. Soccer is fun to watch.
Soccer is fun. Shot put and pole vaulting. We all know what happened at pole vaulting this year.
Giant penis cost them the gold.
I mean, so I did
problem
read
to
an
have.
article that it wasn't just his junk.
It was his foot. His foot?
leg. I think his leg also touched the bar. So
I think it's just the way he was coming down.
even if his junk didn't knock the bar down, he
ball sack
probably
got
still
caught in the pole.
he still wouldn't have gotten
If
it.
you didn't know, this podcast is not PG-13.
That poor man. Well, I mean, whatever.
Listen, I think
He's internet rich.
he may become a model now or something, like underwear model.
What else did we watch?
I think that was it. We watched diving, swimming.
There was rugby at one point. We didn't watch it for long.
Was there? Is rugby in the Olympics?
Yeah.
We did. Oh, it was one of those clip show. It was one of the clip ones. So the game ended in like 5 minutes. And
And we were like, what is happening?
I didn't realize it was clipping. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Rugby, I want to understand the rules because I feel like it's a deeper form of football mixed with like soccer.
I feel like we looked them up before, but it just didn't stick.
Yeah, like Yeah, and the fact that they don't wear any pads
Yeah.
and they like beat each other up is wild to me.
We didn't get to see Carlos in tennis.
In the tennis, no.
But they didn't win. Correct. They didn't win gold. I didn't think.
I don't think they won gold.
He was doubles.
The partnering, and then he didn't. He lost the gold individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
But Carlos is like under 20.
Carlos Alcaraz.
He's fucking rich. So I think his career in tennis is solidified.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah. What about you? Did y'all watch the Olympics? Any favorites?
We did watch the part of the closing ceremony.
Yeah, we did. It was weird.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was America-fied because it will be in America in 2028.
2028, LA.
So yeah, get excited.
Yeah. I mean, the Paris Olympics were great. I thought they did a lot of cool things. The fire in the hot air balloon, I did not understand until I read about it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was cauldron. Is that called
The cauldron, yeah.
of the fire, the Olympic fire? I was like, why is this balloon on fire? And then I read that that thing is not actually fire. It's just steam. And I think they worked on for like 2 years on how to mimic the actual flames. So it would be reflective off that balloon.
Because they wanted it to be sustainable.
Yes.
So they were very much about making this Olympics as sustainable as possible.
Athletes sleeping on cardboard boxes.
That happened in Tokyo, didn't it?
I feel like that's almost normal at most
doing
Olympics
the cardboard
nowadays.
boxing. Yeah. People still got sick out of that river. They tried to clean it.
That river was still pooped.
Them people still got sick.
My people of Paris, do not jump in there. Don't believe anybody telling you that thing is clean.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it. For your own safety, do not do it. I saw a rendering of what it was supposed to look like. They had it looking like a damn pool. And I don't know if it was a real rendering or a fake rendering, but what it was supposed to look like after they did all the cleaning and treatment, it did not look clear. It still looked poopified.
Why would they have people swimming there? Anyway.
I don't know. I feel like nobody has a good river to swim these things in. And that's because everybody's fucking polluting and throwing wastewater into our channels. So like that's why every country can't find a clean lake to put people in to swim.
Also, I think this is worth mentioning. Don't forget that the Paralympics will be starting in
next week, I think.
Next week.
I always thought the Paralympics started immediately after the Olympics.
For some reason, I thought so too. But
and then
I guess
when we
that's
Googled it, I think it starts like the end of August.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, there's like a whole 2-week break in between.
And we were talking like it doesn't get as much coverage as the regular Olympics, which it should.
Like, I mean, if we think our athletes and able-bodied Olympics are amazing, just think about people in the Paralympics. Like, some of the games they're playing and how they're playing, I'm just like mesmerized by their resiliency and how athletic they are in those games. So yeah.
So I don't know if Peacock will also be covering or NBC will be covering them as well. I mean, they were at the closing ceremony, so maybe so, but I just don't think it will be as much coverage as the regular Olympics.
And if you don't know, they have their own opening and closing ceremony. I did not know that because I was always like, why are we closing the damn Olympics? There's always the Paralympics. But they
get their own.
They get their own. Hopefully there'll be some more awareness of which it'll upset the conservatives.
Fuck those people, seriously. Next question. Oh, do I want to do the spicy one or do I want to do...
Do you want to match my freak?
I'll say the spicy one for last.
Do you want to match my nasty?
It'll be like what's my issue, but it's not my issue. Anyway, so next question.
La próxima pregunta.
Date someone like you or someone who is opposite of you.
Ooh.
Good question.
Good question. Hold on, I need to raise my seat. I feel like I'm falling down. Oh, shit. Okay, I'm back.
And he's back. I think it's always commonly said that opposites attract. So if that is the case, then you would probably want to date someone opposite of you. That doesn't mean that they can't share in similarities to you or things that you enjoy, because I feel like that helps make a connection with someone. But I just think it's up to the individual. Like, you don't have to necessarily go out and seek someone who is opposite of you. But sometimes life has a funny way of putting a person in your path and you kind of just click, and it probably would be someone that you wouldn't even consider if, you know, they were on your app or in your dating pool or whatever the case may be, however you find people. And
In person.
Sorry.
Do people still do that?
I think they do. Do
Okay.
they? Do y'all still go to the bars and be like, this man over here sent you a drink, and then you throw it out because you're like, did he poison it? Because I don't want it.
2024.
I mean, watch your drinks. But yeah, I think it's just up to you and up to that other person. Like, you don't have to date someone that's opposite of you. You can date someone that's just like you, and maybe both of you will get along just fine because you are the same person. But that's my opinion.
It's a good question. I think everybody sometimes hyper focuses on that. Like, we don't have a lot of things in common. How are we supposed to get along? And I just think people have this list of what commonalities they want in a partner. And sometimes they're too focused on that to miss actual commonalities that you have without even knowing it, if that makes sense.
It does.
Like, Shawn and I are opposites, but we have commonalities and things that we enjoy: music, movies, etc., etc. And then there's some people who are like, looks have to be like,
look, to the gays, I see a lot of y'all out here, and a lot of y'all look like y'all are damn brothers.
Ooh.
Like, y'all be looking like you are
say that?
dating the mirror image of yourself. And I'm just like, that's cute or whatever. But sometimes, even if you might not have,
They can't help who they fell in love with.
they fell in love with themselves.
Maybe they just love themselves so much.
Okay. But sometimes, even
Just
if you
lost the
don't
gay vote.
who's voting? What are we voting for?
Our podcast.
Oh my God. Sometimes, even if you don't have things in common with someone, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, because maybe they will turn you on to some good shit. And
Okay.
Beyonce.
More
Some
target.
things that you didn't even think about. And it could open up your world to something completely different. And you could possibly do the same thing for that person.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think I dated people that I thought were supposed to be like what I looked like, and same as me, and that resulted in garbage. And then I tried to go, okay, maybe our personalities are the same. That'll be cool. That was garbage as well. And then, you know, I met Shawn, and here we are.
A lot of people have a type. And sometimes your type just isn't what you are supposed to be with.
Yeah.
Because people will complain that, well, I always go after this type and it always ends in heartbreak, or we always break up, or it's always the same drama. It's like, but you keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, like I was gonna say that show Married at First Sight, they're always like, oh, this person they matched me with is not generally my type. And then they just get so fixed on that, and they miss out again of all the things they do have in common because it's not their type. It's an opposite of who they are, and they just can't be receptive to those new experiences.
I mean, obviously, your type isn't working out for you.
Right.
At what point do you just go like, maybe I should step outside of what I normally do?
Exactly. So we say, yes, personal opinion, but sometimes going for the opposite person might result in lots of success and love.
Huh.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I've experienced.
This message is approved by Manny.
I want to be a little Latino thug, you know?
You want to be?
I wanted.
Oh,
I wanted to be like, hey, papi, ¿cómo tú estás, papi?
Yeah, he has a type.
I do have a type. But, you know,
And that type still has not proven to be.
That type is trash.
But
anyways, moving on.
All right, next question.
This is the one Shawn been waiting for weeks.
First, let me preface this by saying I don't know who you are. Because these questions are anonymous. So.
And you may not mean this the way he's taking it.
And maybe you don't, because text is text. It's just on the paper, the screen, and you look at it. It doesn't have any sort of emotion to it. No one is speaking it, so you don't know exactly what their intentions are. But that being said,
he will address the question.
So the question is, if you hate Florida, and it seems like the U.S. so much, why don't you just move out? ? No sense in complaining all the time. Period.
Before Shawn goes into this, thank you for listening, because you must have listened to a few episodes to gather all those facts.
That's true.
So please continue to listen. Thank you.
At least listen for my answer, if that's what you were doing.
We should have saved the question longer.
I'm going to start with your first question. The last part was more of a statement. So if you hate Florida and it seems like the U.S. so much, why don't you just move out? Okay. First of all, there are plenty of people in plenty of states and plenty of countries that would love to move from where they are because they don't want to be there. But due to financial restrictions, people can't just magically pack up their entire lives and just move to somewhere else. So we're going to start there first. It is conceivable for us to be able to move to a different state, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to cost us a lot of money in order to do so.
Mm-hmm. And money and time. Sorry.
Money, time, finding a new job. There's a lot that goes into going somewhere else. Second statement is, this is my podcast and I can complain as much as I want to about any subject that I want to complain about. And Florida is one of those, because I do not like the government institution that is here. And I have a right to do that. Why? Because I vote. I voted against Ron DeSantis. I did not want him to be my governor, but he is. And therefore, I can hold him accountable for the things that he says and does here in this state, since I live here and I voted.
Period.
We complain about Florida because it is a beautiful state.
Speak for yourself.
You don't complain about Florida?
I love Florida.
Okay, great. You've been here all your life.
I'm just playing.
So
I have not been here all my life. Okay, I was born on the island, okay? And I will forever go to my grave saying that shit. I will not own Florida. I will not be 813. I will not be Flo born. All them stupid ass stickers. Absolutely. And I'm sorry if you got one on your car. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just not owning it.
I have always wanted to live in Florida since I came here for a high school trip. It always seemed like a magical, islandy, vibey place. And
that's what happens when you live in the country.
I mean, that's where I came from. I came from the country, and Florida was a big, exciting state to me.
It'll be coming around the mountain when he comes. Well, that's a bad beat.
Yeah, nobody gets that anyway. So I came here. It is beautiful in places. Again, I was young at the time. And the thing that you learn as you grow is that any place can be great, but every place is going to have its cons. Like, no place is perfect. And living here, I enjoy the beauty of, it's always summer here, is what they say. But you quickly get tired of the fucking heat. Mm-hmm. Walking outside and sweating but from walking the dog is not fun. The politics here suck. But I have made amazing friends, made amazing memories here. I've met Manny here. It's just the best. I've had a lot of firsts here, about my first home here. Like, a lot of good has come out of Florida, but that doesn't mean that
come out of Florida. came out of your hard work, your determination, your dedication.
All of that
Because
came out
nobody
of
in Florida
here.
was trying to help you.
I get that. But I'm just saying, like, you can move anywhere and complain about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, to your question, I don't necessarily hate Florida. There are parts of Florida that I hate, and I don't mean that in a geographical sense. I just meant that in I don't know the word that I'm looking for.
That's cool.
But I also don't hate the US. Let's get that straight here as well. When we talk about this country, we talk about it from our perspective. Once again, this is our podcast. And the way that this country is currently, everyone is on Team Red or Team Blue, and we can't seem to have a dialogue and talk to each other and build upon things to make this country better. Everyone just thinks their opinion is the right thing that we should be doing. And then we're making laws that strip people of their rights. That's where I have an issue with this country. And once again, there are people in way more oppressive countries who would love to be somewhere else. You get to complain about it. I live in this country. I pay my taxes in this country. I pay my bills. I vote. So therefore, I have a right to complain. And again, my podcast, so I can do that. I'm going to let Manny talk because, I'm long-winded.
Oh, I didn't even say anything this time. I was thinking it, but I didn't say it. I'm working on that.
The floor is yours.
Did I give you attitude?
No.
I was just like... No, it was very inquisitive. I love how you brought it back into the political climate. Because that really is what makes us dislike. I think hate is a strong word.
Very strong.
Dislike aspects of Florida and aspects of this country. Also, for us, we have been in this state for a while. I know people sometimes live, are born and die in the state and city that they were born in. Those are just, as we have gotten older and had life experiences, we just don't see that as what we want for us. We don't want the rest of our life to be in Florida. And yes, I personally feel that there are parts of Florida that you can hate. Just politics, I know, strong word. But also, Florida is just not really our vibe at times either. Everyone's like, oh, you go to the beach all the time. No, I don't. I can't tell you the last time I went to the beach. Second of all, I come from an island that has some of the best beaches in the world. Do you think I'm going to sit here and say Clearwater is cute? No, I'm not. When people are like, oh, St. Pete, I'm like, yeah, it's nice. It's not cute. I was born in Puerto Rico, okay? The beaches here do not live up to the island. So for me, the beach here is looks like dirty water. It's fine. Also, it's very touristy, which I know a lot of places is very touristy, but Tampa has slowly been built now into this high-rise vibe of a community where nobody can afford it that lives here. And that's another thing that makes me dislike Florida even more. It's instead of making things affordable where people like you and I might vibe in a downtown Tampa.
Yeah.
But the cost to move there is ridiculous to begin with. So I don't even know where I'm going with this answer. I'm just saying, it's I think for you and I, maybe not so much America, but Florida, I feel like we've outgrown it. And I feel like we're craving a new experience where, when you move somewhere for the first time, you are going for maybe the first couple of years with everything's new to you. You're like, oh my God, I want to go see this. I want to go see that. I want to see this. That doesn't happen here anymore for us because we've been here for so long.
Right.
So the crave of doing something different, something new, experiencing new restaurants, maybe different cultures. And that's really what we're trying to get at. The hate that you may perceive through our podcast is we do hate the politics, both in the state and the country, because we have gone so far.
We have strayed from the light.
I will always say America has been and will always continue to be a racist country, as many other countries across the world are. But I have never seen in my lifetime the negativity of what is now towards race and different genders and everything. It's just, I didn't see this in 2024. When I thought as a kid, my life, I'm like, things will get better for all cultures and all people, right?
It's supposed to. We're supposed to progress. And instead, we are starting to regress. And I know that there are people out here who are like, well, I'm conservative and I don't this and I don't that. And like I said last week on the podcast, if it doesn't affect you, then you should just be quiet.
Yeah, like
if it's not affecting you in any way, you don't have to get an abortion. You don't have to get a gender change. You don't have to be a homosexual. Like, none of these things, which so many people in this country get upset about, affect their daily lives. Meanwhile, the complete opposite, the people that you have made poster children for hate at this point, it does affect their daily lives so much that it affects their mental health. It affects suicide rates. It affects their self-worth. And for people to not be able to understand that you wanting a simple thing as banning health care that someone may need is detrimental to their everyday living. I will never understand how you don't have any ounce of empathy for another human being. And that's all we are. We're all human beings, whether you are conservative, liberal, MAGA, whatever the case may be.
we have that in common.
We are all human beings with blood flowing through our veins and a heartbeat. That is who we are. We are a people that should be helping each other instead of suppressing each other. And I don't understand why it's so hard for anybody to understand that. And I don't care what your political side is. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care any of that, because it starts that we are all human. And to me, the US has become this thing where it's just, we care so much about what you do with your body. We care so much about who you sleep with. We care so much about all the shit that doesn't matter instead of caring about the human being first.
Yeah. So that, if you get that perception of hate, that's what we hate, if we want to use that word, is we're not advancing, we're regressing in the fact that one side of the aisle continues to focus on policies that are essentially hurting people. It's not like we're actually following policies to make things better in our country, like fixing the Affordable Care Act, making it more accessible, less expensive for people.
I would love if Donald Trump or JD Vance, did a speech on how they are going to help us with the homeless crisis, how they are going to help young mothers with kids, like with the border.
So
like,
much about.
If they would say anything that I would perceive is them trying to help human beings instead of criticizing Harris or the Democrats or criticizing single people without kids or married people without kids, I would look at them differently. But that's not what they are doing. And I'm not trying to make this about Trump. I'm not trying to make this about the race. It's
the actual perception of the country.
Yes, it's just the perception of the country. Right now, we are so divided that it is, I don't even see a way for us to get out of this division at this moment.
The younger generation, they're either going into the liberal category or they're going into this MAGA extreme upbringing,
right,
that hates everything that's different.
Right. So when you listen to us and we talk about the things that are happening in this country, and we usually talk about it from a focus of being more progressive, so we care about those issues a bit more. And it may seem like we are saying that we hate it here. It's not that we hate it here. We just hate that politics has become so polarizing in this country that it makes it hard for those who are the most vulnerable in this country to be here. And as far as we have come as individuals, me and Manny, and being able to afford our own home and car and all of these things, we are still minorities in this country, and we are still looked at as less than. And there are people who don't even have the things that we have, who are even more vulnerable. And these are the people that we attack in this country.
I mean, it's so bad because we do see some of y'all don't listen from the US. It's gotten so bad here that we have political candidate or former administration people, former Trump administration people, called Harris's VP pick the F word, not the FUCK one, the other one, because of his support for transgender people in his state. That's how bad it's gotten. And that's, again, not what I foresaw when I was growing up younger. I was like, things will get better, right? We had that momentous time where gay marriage passed in this country. It's like we hit the totem pole. We were at the very top of the totem pole. I'm like, it's just going to get better from here. Like, everybody's going to get good health care. We're going to end poverty. We're going to end hunger. No, that did not happen.
It did not.
We have gone so far back. And it's a pity that we are dismissive of the accomplishments that have been made under this current administration, whether you support them or not. There has been great things that empower everybody. It's not just
all Americans,
Democrats.
Right.
But those accomplishments have been thrown under the rug because all we want to focus is essentially on women's health, taking away women's health, and then also cutting up the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes.
Because apparently that's the priority.
So I hope we have answered your question. And I mean no malice when I started the question. I hope we answered it well, and you have a better understanding of where we're coming from when we talk about these things on this podcast, which I will remind you again is our podcast.
One last mic drop. I think this brings us that time. We're going to have to stop. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have more questions. We'll probably do another episode. Maybe when we get back from London, because we will want to talk about London then. But yeah, anyways.
Maybe it'll be one of those fill out episodes before Spain or during Spain. We'll see.
Well, we could pre-record that.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for joining us again on the Manny and Shawn Experience podcast. This is episode 85. Make sure you're following our socials, and where can you do that at?
Using MASXP23 on any social media platform. Well, most of them. You should be able to find us. You can also find us on YouTube doing the same thing. Look out for our future vlogs, especially for Norse and our London trip. And if you are curious about our previous adventures on Carnival, we have some Carnival vlogs up there, and as well as one from Virgin. So go check those out.
Yep. And then a little asterisk on the Virgin ones. Some things have changed on Virgin. Like, you don't have to book shows and stuff anymore. So it may be a little out of date, but you can get the vibe of what it's like. And don't forget to enter the contest, MASXP23 on Instagram for your chance to win one of our limited edition hats. And that'll do it for us. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you for your questions.
Yes.
We like to pile them up so then we can just pull random. So that's why we kind of push, and they're like, why aren't they answering the questions? It's because of that.
We will get to it. If you have sent something in and you haven't heard an answer yet, we will get to it.
There's some on there we may not answer on.
See you, thruple question. Anyway.
Like that one we will not be addressing on this podcast.
Thank you guys for coming back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. As we always say here, do something good for yourself.
And then do something good for somebody else. When this comes out, we'll be where? We'll be in London.
Yes, having fish and chips.
It'll come out at 12. What time will be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll be 5 o'clock. in London. We'll still be on the plane when this comes out.
It's fine. All right.
Take care, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.